Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And tonight, I have a sweet, delicious treat for you guys. ABC News, Australian style, decided to take on the gun control propaganda from their mainline United States parent company, but they're kind of doing it wrong. This is kind of like watching the C team try to take on the A team. This is going to be a fun one because they made some very serious mistakes and said some quiet parts out loud, which we're going to fully highlight. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And this content this week is brought to us by American Hartford Gold. I'm going to say a word from them, and then we're going to hit. Content today is brought to you by American Hartford Gold. And brothers and sisters, with everything popping off around the world, wars cracking off. We've got inflation issues. We've got stock market volatility. We have cash concerns. We have oil concerns. It's a good time to take a look and at least know your options with American Hartford Gold. They are dedicated to offering gold, silver, platinum coins and bars for your investing needs. Whether you want to do it delivered to your door or you want an IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, TSP, they've got options. This is something you guys should check out. At American Hartford Gold, they aim to educate clients about investments in the precious metal industry, strive to provide unparalleled customer service built on trust, integrity, and absolute transparency, while holding a goal of achieving 100% customer satisfaction. Click the link in the description or call 844-727-3199. That's 844-727-3199 or text Langley to 65532. Again, that's 844-727-3199 or text Langley to 65532. All right, beautiful people. The gun control versus gun right debate is one that we are really at an expert level in the United States. If you are against gun rights, then you're for gun control. And if you're against gun control and you're for the Constitution, you're for gun rights. It's very straightforward, and we're very well versed in our arguments. But then every once in a while, United States organizations like ABC News, but Australian version, dip their toe into that fight. And they say some things that are not as well polished as the gun controllers do in America. And it comes to the point where it disproves them completely. I'm about to walk you through this, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy this one because it has the makings of greatness. Again, everything's linked, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, check it out. They start out strong with a good topic of a headline. 24 hours, 7 mass shootings. As an election looms, what does a day of gun violence look like for the United States? Again, this is for abcnews.australia. So here's some numbers and the first big mistake that they've made. We're about to take out the gun rights nuke from orbit and just let it loose, all right? There have already been 4,138 deaths linked to gun violence across the United States in 2024, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Well, you guys know how I feel about the Gun Violence Archive, but let's just play along in their sandbox for a second. They state that sentence and that statistic as this horrible, awful, unbelievable, you cannot believe anything worse on the planet because look at these crazy Americans. The only problem with that is, let me walk you down a little bit of calculator math for you, back of the napkin. If the number is 4,138 and it's April, that means that we are 1/4 through the year. So we're the first quarter wrapped up, gone, done. All right? If you take 4,138 and you times it by 4 or multiply it by 4, you get 16,552 deaths on an annual basis. So we are on trending towards 16,552 deaths. Not good. Don't want any of these things to happen. Don't misunderstand me. However, when you look at the standard average for a year is 48,000 in the United States with about 60% suicides and 40% homicides, it kind of puts in perspective that we're trending towards a 30% decline year over year with no gun control introduced. But they don't tell you that. They're only going to say 4,100 deaths, which is trending towards a 30% a 60% or 60 or 70% reduction. 30% of the prior year totals is what we're trending towards, however you want to say that. Aussies, you guys aren't doing it right, but they did do some interesting things. Listen to what they provided. Now, they only gave you half the story on this one. This is a graph of which they were showing to show you how many guns are permeating society in the United States, which I assume is put in there to scare the normal Australian. The only snippet problem that they left out here is not only are we on trend to hit 30% of prior totals, they also didn't show you the 30-year violent crime graph, of which the DOJ, Biden administration, the ATF, and every acolyte for the Democrats and the left are literally citing as their big crowning achievement of how much they reduced crime when they obviously didn't, because here's the 30-year trend. Again, gun rights, gun purchasing going upward at a parabolic rate. Violent crime going down at a parabolic rate in a 30-year time span. Biden and the DOJ and the ATF and all those guys, they want to show you at this last little year when they went slightly down, still above the mean. Guys, this is a game of propaganda, but we are blasting it from space. Okay, we got a few more things I got to show you. Because again, they're inadvertently proving our points. That's what this whole thing's about. They are inadvertently defeating the gun control arguments while still trying to postulate an argument against gun rights. That's why I say it's like the B team fighting against the A team. They're not doing it right. Check this out. Here's a mass shooting across the United States map that they also put in the same article. Again, it's linked if you want to read it. But right there, do you notice anything strange? Because a lot of the states that are deep blue are gun rights states, and a lot of the states that are deep blue are gun control states. Some of the darker or the middle blue, same thing. It's almost like anywhere there are large cities, you're going to have a criminal element and criminal action. And it's not about having a red state and having a blue state. It's about criminal activity that goes across all borders. Now, it does speak a little bit worse to gun control because their whole claim to fame is that these things can't happen here because we take common sense gun reform. California, New York's almost there, Pennsylvania, Maryland, where D.C. is, which we just did a story earlier today about D.C. getting caught with a lot of crime guns linked back to the sales from their police departments. And then you've got Illinois right there. You've got Florida. So it goes across the gambit. Like, what are you trying to do? Anyway, let's continue. I got a few little quotes for you. Listen to this, because this, again, they're talking to Australians. It's always important to see the audience. The U.S. Constitution enshrines gun rights under the Second Amendment, saying a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. In 2022, the Supreme Court ruled that the local governments could regulate but not eradicate the core right to bear arms, labeling gun rights as a fundamental right. It was already a fundamental right, but I'm going to give this to you because that's not the point here. And because the U.S. Supreme Court case law that has been established over the decades is relatively lax, many attempts by states to limit gun ownership fall foul of the U.S. Constitution, Dr. Harris says. You're not supposed to say that, Australia. You're not supposed to say they're unconstitutional. You're supposed to say it's common sense gun reform. But they're letting the cat out of the bag because, again, they are not used to this fight in the nomenclature that's necessary. It says it right here, clear as crystal. Not only are the graphs that I'm showing you, not only the statistics that I'm showing you, it says literally right there, the states that limit gun ownership fall foul of the U.S. Constitution because it is an infringement upon the Second Amendment. It is not difficult. Even Australians know it. They just don't know how to word it right. But the point is, they're calling it out. And remember that stat I said earlier? They put this in here too. They're not doing it right. ABC Australia, I love that you're telling the truth, but gun controllers are not going to be happy with you. Gun deaths across the United States by intent. Suicide is 57%. Homicide is 40%. So now you come to the point that's a little uncomfortable. What's gun control going to do to prevent 60% of all gun deaths in the United States that are suicides? It's not going to do anything. But it's about taking guns. That's the point. You can't show these statistics, Australia, because then people go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Exactly. It doesn't make sense. The entire point here is they don't show you certain graphs and certain statistics on the gun controlling side in order to get you to the determined outcome that they want you to without having all the information. That's the reason this channel exists, to show you this type of information and go, guys, they showed you the 30-year or the most recent gun purchases, but oddly enough, they didn't show you the most recent gun crime or violent crime statistics. I wonder why they didn't do that. Let's continue. But that's the point. That's why we do these things. And sometimes I just throw in sarcasm and mockery because it's a little fun. University of Melbourne professor of American politics. Look at that. They got professors of our politics. Timothy J. Lynch says, for Americans, gun control is more than just an issue with the U.S. government or the legal system. I think Australians look at it as a technocratic government issue, he says. If there's a massacre, how do you stop it? You illegalize guns. We did it after the Tasmanian massacre. There just seems to be a logic to it, but we don't have a connection to guns that's rooted in our culture and history. That's a very powerful part of our political identity. Understand what this guy is saying. It is part of who we are. It is part of the fabric and the tapestry of our nation. The gun controllers run into resistance and have to use flowery language because it is ingrained in our culture. It is handed down from a mother to a daughter, from a father to a son, mother to son, father to daughter. Hey, we can do it all the ways. But the point is, it's built into our Constitution because that's where our freedom came from. There's a reason. It's to resist tyranny. It's part of what we are. Even Australians get it. In the U.S., U.S. gun rights stand not just for the right to self-protection, but the whole concept of one's identity. It's a tradition. It's a lifestyle. Yes, that's exactly correct. It is a lifestyle of freedom that is built in to resist tyranny, both foreign and domestic. They don't understand it because it is a foreign concept to them. Keep in mind, Australia was prior a colony of England. So they have that, I don't even know the right word. Heredity? That's not the right one. They have that bloodline of being subject to somebody. We don't, because we said, nah, we're good, thanks. And guess what? Guns were a big part of that. But the most powerful thing right here, and getting the government to change that, to change your connection to notions of identity itself and where you sit in the culture is really extraordinarily difficult. Yeah. But that's the whole point. And the last thing, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. This is another graph they put in here. 72% of Americans enjoy owning a gun. 81% feel safer owning a gun. I tell you guys we're winning in this gunfight because we're winning in this gunfight. It doesn't look like it because they're the louder majority, or the louder minority, excuse me. But we are winning. We are passing it down to our children. We are passing it down to the next generations. The other side that is gun controlling doesn't even have next generations because of other options in the political spectrum. We're winning. Give it time. Just like Novocaine, it will always work. And the last thing, this is so beautiful. In Australia, I look forward to your next articles. Bruce Wolpe, a non-resident senior fellow at the University of Sydney's United States Studies Center, says the gun debate is deadlocked for Republicans and Democrats. We have more guns in the United States than people, he says, and when you reach that level of I almost didn't mess that up. And when you reach that level of proliferation of guns throughout a country, there's almost nothing that can be done to stop them. Australia, ABC division, I look forward to your next gun control article. And that's what I've got for you guys. They say it out loud. You just have to know where to look. Everything will be linked, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.